I sit down and I'm playing her. And I know she's nervous because I think she got sent to losers pretty early too, right? So she got sent to losers, and I'm playing her. And I noticed she's scared, and that's one thing. I've been playing fighting games for a long time. I know when somebody is scared, right? I know when someone is scared. So I kind of took advantage of that. Every single time I saw AOP, the Art of Phoenix stance, for people that know what that is in Tekken, I hop kick. Literally every single time, because I never fought a Ling in my life. So I didn't even know who Ling was.
Welcome everybody to the Tuesday show. You have three extremely well-groomed men here. My name is James, and I am joined by Okay, fair enough. UltraDavid and TuboWare. How's everybody going out there?
Oh, I'm feeling so fresh, James. Oh, I'm feeling nice and clean. How about you, Brock TuboWare?
Well, I'm doing damn well.
I'm happy to hear that. It's super important to me to have found out. I'm glad that I did. All right, let's talk about what we're going to be talking about in this show. Guilty Gear Strive, and KOF 15, and Street Fighter 5, and DNF Duel, and other stuff in Fighting Game Roundtable. A lot of things happened, and so we're going to get to. We're not going to get to every single thing because there's too much, and we're also not going to be talking about like which source it came from, because there were multiple things that happened. The Roundtable, Arc Revo, Twitter announcements, etc. Anyway, we're just going to talk about the news.
Dude, it's crazy.
I hope that's okay.
Like last week, there wasn't much happening, and then all of a sudden this week's it's like, oh, you want news? Have all the news in the world. I mean, we didn't even know the Roundtable was going to happen until like 4 days before the Roundtable happened, right? So,
there you go. Man. We also have Beautifuldude on the show. He'll be the guest. We have a couple of fun 5-5 questions on the old viewer side. And then we got a couple of fun mailbags. But again, let's start by talking about the news, which we're going to begin with in Guilty Gear Strive. So a bunch of stuff for Strive. Probably the biggest one, of course, Testament announced. But there's also already a starter guide out for Testament. They also announced that Season 2 will have new story content and that there will be 4 new characters in that. Mm-hmm. And then they also announced that there will be crossplay. They will do crossplay for Guilty Gear Strive. Wow. Crossplay is actually happening.
That's great.
I mean, they said that they would do it, but props for them to actually do it.
Right, yeah.
And they also said that they're coming out with the figure display mode like they had in Exerd. But let's just get back to the big news, obviously, which is Testament being announced. Definitely very different appearance, and now officially agender. Daisuke Ishitare has said that about Testament for a long time, but now more official, going with they them pronouns, etc. And actually pretty different gameplay wise than original Testament used to be. I mean,
well, what's different? For obviously, I know, being the long Guilty Gear fan that I've been, but for people that don't know out there, can you tell them what the differences appear to be, James?
Yeah, Testament was mostly a screen controlled trap character. They would plant webs that were invisible on the screen. Like if you think about Byakuya in Uniel, if you're familiar with Byakuya, Byakuya has always reminded me of Testament. But they would plant, like, you'd see them go, and then they would plant like a web on this visible web on part of the screen, and if you went near it, it would pop up, and if it hit you, it locked you into place. Testament can also plant trees in the ground that if you ran over, the tree would pop up and hit you, and then throw skulls that if you got hit by the skull, all of a sudden Testament's crow would start attacking you in one of 3 different ways. You would either shoot feathers at you, or dive at you, or the little...
Is it random?
Yeah, it's random. It's absolutely random which one it did, and like the spirit would come out and stab you and stuff. Dude, Testament was a nightmare to fight against in terms of just like, oh, and then Beast, of course, which was in some Guilty Gear games was a like Testament would call the beast in front of them or behind you, and once it started, it was coming out. So basically, Testament could kind of use them as reversals. They would get hit, but then Beast would hit you and counter hit you, and then they would get to combo off of you. Oh god, Testament was a pain to fight against. And obviously what Strive has been doing has really been trying to lower the amount of that kind of insanity. And so Testament is probably one of the most changed characters out of all the characters so far, in my opinion.
You say lower that type of insanity, which is a good way to put it, because Strive has plenty of its own insanity going on.
Yes. I mean, you sit there and you watch those Chips and Milias and Geos and stuff like that do all their craziness, and definitely no lack of craziness in Strive. But, I mean, look, as someone who had to fight a person who liked to use Testament, kind of glad that Testament has changed. Oh,
well, can you talk about how Testament's new options are going to be? They do seem really different, and there's a starter guide out now that like explains what the moves are. But could you encapsulate that?
The front Beast is more just like a projectile now, but the more gimmicks of what Testament does now is that Testament has the ability to throw projectile like blood skulls, and where like straight and also diagonally up where they end, a little spirit shows up, a succubus sits there. And then that succubus is kind of like an indication of how different things happen. So, for example, if you launch your crow at the opponent, it's very high up in the air and goes straight. And in general, will probably go over most people's head. But if you throw the ground skull projectile and leaves the succubus sitting there, the crow tracks to the succubus. Testament also has the ability to teleport and will teleport towards the succubus, or you can feint and actually just teleport in place. And then just a automatic high-low mix-up, because now the Beast, instead of coming from front or behind, now comes from top or from below. Looks like they have slightly different timing, so it might be fuzzyable. But basically it's like an automatic high-low mix-up. Yeah. So very different kind of character. It seems like they're going to be based largely on their range. That's what the developers were talking about during the Japanese Roundtable, kind of like having ranged attacks and such. And it's going to be really interesting because obviously whatever you're used to Testament was before is not what Testament is at all anymore. So like Baiken in Exert, Baiken got changed, and then in Strive even more changed. So from XX to Strive, Baiken's change in gameplay might be similar to the level of Testament's change, honestly.
There's also stain state that they apply, and my memory is that gets applied when the opponent gets hit by or even blocks certain things.
Yeah, or even blocks certain things.
Right. And then that makes certain attacks like work differently, right? Or have an extra follow-up so that Testament gets like extra frame.
It seems like most things that they do just have an extra follow-up, like a delayed bomb effect, where they get more pressure on block and a full combo on hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think that's a super cool idea as well.
It's kind of like Bison planting the bomb, right? Because then you can just pop the bomb.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the Testament seems really cool. We've talked about this many times. I probably will whenever a new character comes out in this game. I don't have gear experience in the way that many people do, so I'm not coming into this being like, oh, Testament should play a certain way, you know? The fact that Testament will be different isn't like a plus or minus to me. It's just I'm just approaching them for the first time is like really what it is.
And you know,
I think there's a lot of cool tools there.
Yeah, and also honestly, like as Street Fighter players, again, we're probably a little more used to it, even though Street Fighter characters don't change drastically. But, you know, I was talking to some people that are like, oh, their Testament players are going to be mad, you know, that they can't use Testament. Like, I'm actually kind of sad that Cammy didn't change in 5. You know, when
Cammy
like
will never change.
Zangief and Dalsum actually became super interesting and super cool. Like, they just left Cammy exactly as straightforward and boring as possible.
Well,
you know?
James, I hate to tell you, but Cammy is straightforward and boring.
That's the character and
Just
has
all the
been
time.
ever since
Always.
after Super Turbo.
Yep.
That Super Turbo was the
Yeah.
last time that she
Yep.
wasn't that way.
100%. 100% agree.
Personally, I'm not a Street Fighter guy. I'm an NRS guy, but I do know what you mean. I do.
Oh, right. That's true. That's true.
I do.
NRS characters, they stay completely the same between every
You
version,
can't
right?
be an NRS guy anymore, David. You can't be an
What?
NRS guy. This morning, David goes, "Oh my God, there's a PC patch." I was like, "Bro, they tweeted it has nothing to do with anything."
Yeah, it wasn't a
He was
gameplay
like,
thing or
"Oh."
anything like that in Mortal. Anyway, yeah.
Got to keep
so
your ear to the streets, dog.
my ear was not out there. It's true. So look, I think Testament sounds sick. I have seen some reactions from people who played Gear before, and it runs the gamut that I think you would expect. Some people are like, well, of course it's they're going to do differences in character designs. Like that's obviously what Strive is doing. Not plus or minus to them necessarily. And other people are mad about it, and other people are like, sweet, new ideas that I get to mess with. So whatever.
I mean,
it's going to be
regardless,
the whole list of reactions.
regardless, the design aesthetically is great.
They look sick. Yeah, for sure. They look really cool. I highly agree.
And definitely in tune with the concept that everybody in Strive looks extremely hot compared to it's so funny. I'll go back and watch XX footage and Soul looks weird to me now. He
That
looks
thin little
scrawny.
Yeah,
baby.
he's all skinny and scrangly.
Put some muscle on that guy's frame. Come on.
Dude,
There's a
yeah.
stick out there.
It's so funny looking.
Yeah, I mean, I do still think that Chip looked better beforehand. I think like wide Chip is weird, but the other characters being thick is really cool looking. I
Wide
totally agree.
Chip.
Yeah, wide Chip. I mean, it's what he is. Anyway, yeah, I think Testament looks sick. I really like what they did with them. Looking forward to that. Anything else
Does that
to say
mean?
about-
Does that mean if Ryu, if that's how Ryu looks in Street Fighter 6, we're gonna get used to it, and we look at 5, he's gonna look scrawny after a while, you know?
Probably.
Just like how
Probably.
Akuma in Street Fighter 4 looks so gross now.
Yeah, Street Fighter 5 Akuma actually looks better than 4, it turns out. It took me a while to think that. All right, yeah, look, anything else to say about Testament themselves?
Comes out March 28th, along with no, I think that's it, right?
Map,
It's
new
just
stage, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
new
yeah,
stage.
yeah.
You
The
get to
White
play
House
with
Reborn
The White
or
House,
something.
yeah. Yeah, you can play at the White House. Yeah, that's pretty sick. And then, so there's going to be new story content coming out, and they wanted you to pay attention to the characters that are in that. I think, obviously, with the implication that those characters will be coming to be playable.
So someone
and they said that 4 will be in the new season.
Someone actually, it was Olaf actually saw a tweet that someone pointed out that in the endings of the first season's Guilty Gear Strive story mode, there's a picture of like Ramlethal and someone else like talking or whatever, and Testament is just in the background. Like they're just there. It's just that none of us knew that it was Testament.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Testament's just chilling there, like drinking tea or something. So
Interesting.
hidden in plain sight, man.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And then I just wanted to talk a little bit more about crossplay because, again, that will be coming. We don't have a date for that. I'm not sure when that's going to be happening.
No, they said with season 2.
Yeah, but like when is that going to actually happen?
Oh yeah, no,
they did say that they're going to do a beta test for it. That was part of what they talked about in the roundtable.
Okay.
So it's not going to be that it comes out right away. They are in fact going to be rolling it out. But I think that's so cool and something that since game devs have basically been adopting rollback, like the next thing to talk about to get all of them onto is crossplay, right? And I'm not the first person to say that, of course. Many people have been talking about that. But I think that's really cool. And for a game, well, not just this game, but like fighting games in general, most of them need crossplay. We do not have that many long-term players compared to other game genres. Sorry, everybody. It would be great if we did, but it's not like that. So it's very common for new games to come out, for them to be playable in the sense that like you find matches fast for the first few weeks, first few months even sometimes. and then after that, almost always drops off unless there's crossplay, or unless it's like one of just a couple of different games. So crossplay here, I think, is extremely important for keeping the scene going. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's great that it's there. I don't think we need it for Strive in particular. I think it's definitely a bonus. I think Strive's online community on every platform that you can play it on is very healthy. So I don't know if it's like that big of a deal for Strive, but I do think it's a big a deal for a game like Skullgirls or Them's Fighting Herds that doesn't necessarily have the same player base as Strive does right now. And I do think it's important for Strive in the future because, like you said, what usually happens with the fighting games is the older they get, the less players are there because the game gets harder as everyone gets better, and only the truly dedicated stick around, which is totally understandable.
Right.
So yeah, it's absolutely great for the future of the game. That's a good thing.
I just want to, actually, Showbiz mentioned it. I'm actually curious to see, once it goes a little bit longer, if we check Celestial, how many of them are going to be PC players because of the advantage.
Listen, I can't wait to run up on some poor PS4 nerd playing on his base PS4 on a monitor that's 12 years old with my 175 hertz 3060 Ti ready to smoke him, all right? Survival of the fittest.
I mean, the other thing that's interesting that makes me happy, though, is like, I know when I did ICFC, for example, for EU, a lot of the best players there weren't entering it because the event was PS4. And a lot of the players didn't have the PS4 version. And so that's the other really cool thing about crossplay is now, I mean, as good netcode has allowed us to actually play national tournaments, crossplay will now make it so that we don't have to run, here's the PS4 tournament, here's the PC tournament. They can all play on whatever they want, and if they want to, handicap themselves by playing on the PlayStation, they can. But, we don't have that restriction anymore. And that's what's going to be cool, is that people can play on anything. So, yeah, obviously there's going to be issues on all the platforms. But obviously, for the most part, the lack of input delay being on the PC and then Arturo Sanchezing your monitor obviously is going to make it. He said you can overclock your controller, and I never even heard of that, dude. I was like,
you can overclock the polling rate.
Or
the rate at which it sends information and takes it back.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
okay, well, there you go. Nice job, everybody. We finished exactly on time.
Yep.
All right.
Of course, figure display mode where you can make funny comics. Anyways, let's go ahead and go forward.
King of Fighters 15. Yeah, James, go for it.
King of Fighters 15. So the Japanese Roundtable, this was this weekend. It was mostly repeat news. There's only like one or two things that were brand new announcements, and SNK had the big one, which was that Omega Rugal. So when you looked at the character screen, there was always one character select box by itself. We thought it would be the boss of the game, maybe the mid-boss, reverse, whatever it's named. And it's Omega Rugal. So, I mean, a lot of us kind of suspected because, the collector's edition was called the Omega edition, so a lot of people were thinking. I'm sad because this means he's not going to be on a team with Vice and Mature, but in any case, he's coming out and is going to be a free DLC character in April. And the other funny thing is, for people with a lot of SNK history, they know Omega Rugal was one of the bosses in one of the games. And SNK has the reputation of having the most broken bosses in fighting games. And so they're actually just adding a new boss mode feature where you just have to try to kill him. And he's probably going to be stupid, and I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, they showed him doing Genocide Cutter against a whole bunch of different opponents, which I think is implying that it's just going to straight up have input reading.
Yeah.
And if you do a thing, he's just going to do Genocide Cutter and like kick you immediately. And if you're going into that as the player, like knowing that it's like a fun, silly boss fight rather than like without knowing that, and you think, oh, it's stupid. He's reading my inputs. Absurd. How ridiculous. But if that's what you know going into it, I think it's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. Because, again, that was the reputation. CPUs between SNK bosses and Mortal Kombat, everything. CPU AIs have never been very well designed, but in this case, doing it on purpose is genius. So
I think it's really funny. But yeah, so there was other stuff to talk about for KOF 15. So Omega Rugal's coming out just as a character, as you said, just big. And then also they're gonna have balance changes when the second DLC will come out. That will be in May. So there was the first set of DLC actually came out. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. And there was a slight patch with them, but it wasn't like a real balance patch. The balance patch will come out in May. And then there was one more thing that I thought was really cool, actually, that they talked about at the Fighting Game Roundtable. The King of Fighters: The Ultimate History, a 544-page book, will also be coming out. And then it will be in different languages, they said. That is so cool. I mean, even as somebody who doesn't have much experience or history with the KOF scene, I am definitely gonna get that. That's so sick.
How many of us have like that Soul Calibur 5 guide that came out that had like all that stuff just because it was thick and hardback? It was like, this is so cool. I'll definitely be picking this thing up, and it looks really cool.
Listen, books are for nerds.
Yeah,
who needs them?
Not you, because you're not a nerd.
Give me the YouTube video version. I'll watch that.
How long would that take? 544
pages.
You just have content forever if you're going to be doing that.
There's a lot of pictures, okay? There's a lot of pictures. So,
I hope it's all text.
I really doubt it.
It's not, for sure. But
the game was designed as this. If you imagine it in your head, there was an energy bar at the top of the screen,
Right, yeah.
Oh, my God.
No, anyway, I think that is really cool, though. And then, anything else to say about... Oh, the second DLC will be Southtown Folks. They did talk about that. Yeah. They also said that there's going to be 6 more DLC characters that will come out in summer and autumn 2022. Yeah. So that means that there will be a total of 12
13
DLC characters. I guess 13 with Omega Rugal. Yeah, that's right. 13 all in the same year, all coming out pretty fast.
Which is crazy. Which is impressive, to be honest with you. So, now, it's interesting because they said the balance changes aren't gonna. So this last balance change, really the only thing was that they buffed Whip a tiny bit. Most everything else
he just does more damage, right? They didn't even change recoveries of stuff.
And everything else I believe was a bug fix. And what's interesting to me about that is that you just I don't know if you guys talked about the 3 new characters dropping or anything like that, because they dropped after the Tuesday show last week, right?
They did, yeah. So we should talk about them now. But
So Rock Gato and B Janae were added to the game, and as far as I can tell, from what I've been reading, most people talking about and just talking to Olaf, they're all really good.
That's what I've been noticing.
They're all really strong, and as balanced as KOF 15 is, since KOF 15 is a very kind of like system strong game, the characters that are slightly better kind of get exacerbated a little bit. And so right now, like if you look at all the big tournaments, what the team is VRT right now, which they call it, Vanessa, Ralph, and Terry. It's like always like 2 of them and another. And so now they've added like 3 more characters that have the potential to be really strong as well, which is good. But I'm wondering, it's probably good that they're going to let us stew on it a little bit before we actually start doing any sort of buffs or nerfs. So it'll probably be good.
The truth is, they've probably been stewing on it since before the game even released.
Yeah, that is very possible.
That they've been probably thinking about for a while. So
don't reveal the secrets of the industry, Tubo.
I will. I will expose the entire game dev industry.
It's like
I'm coming for you, geeks.
Remember when Marvel 3 came out, and then like a month later they nerfed Sentinel's damage or his health?
Oh yeah.
But like that actually was just planned in advance, and everybody was like, "How dare you nerf Sentinel after he comes out? Was he too good?" And it was just like, nah, they just had intended to do that already. Anyway. that is how it goes sometimes. But look, that will be a couple months after the game launched, so that in May. So that's enough time to like see how people are actually reacting to it, and also still make changes.
And people are going to find...
I feel like it's like like for sure they knew that like Terry's good and Ralph is good. Like they obviously knew that at the end of the dev cycle.
You would think so.
I mean, the Terry one, like, I feel like there's a little bit of intention there, just because Terry, and I know it's the inside joke, it's the meme, but I think that there's actual logical decisions to take the character from Smash Brothers and make them strong for people to come. Like, if you're a Smash Brothers casual player and you're like, who do I pick? I'll pick Terry because I know this character. I generally think it's a good decision for them to make, like Soul being strong in Strive at first. Like there's a reason to do stuff like that. So
dude, if you are such a KOF noob that you are coming from Smash and you're like, oh, I've heard of Terry from Smash. If Terry is really good or not, I feel like it's actually not super important.
Yeah, you're not even gonna know if Terry is good. You're gonna have no clue.
This is fair. Yeah. This is fair. Yeah. and frankly, Terry is actually under what most people say Vanessa and Ralph are like the two actual like S tier characters, and that Terry might be like S minus or something like that. But Vanessa and Ralph are clearly the two problem characters. But again, there's a lot of characters that are right under them that people are starting to learn a lot more about. Kukri, people have been talking. I keep saying Andy.
That's the character. Yeah. For me, Kukri is the character that stands out the most. I don't know that I would say he's the best. I've been playing this game a lot. I don't know that he's the best. That's not what I'm saying. But I think he's the character that I'm like scared of fighting the most. I know that if I'm playing against Ralph or Terry or Vanessa, like I can't get hit or I will explode. But I also like don't need to get hit. You know what I mean? Like they don't have the trickiest mix-ups unless it's like if Terry does EX overhead a few times, okay. But other than that, like the mix-ups aren't that crazy. Whereas for Kukri, he's the only character in the game that's like doing Marvel mix-ups on me and then converting into a ton of damage and corner carry and Oki. I think he's really, really good. I hope that they don't nerf him that much. I think he's really good. Like it would be cool if more characters were at that level.
What about Joe?
Joe is really good.
Joe's really good for sure.
Yeah. I mean, honestly though, again, it's the balance issue, right? You'd rather have them buff everybody up to the other level, but of course that's always harder. And if you have two characters who are particularly strong, you know what makes them strong, and so it's easier to nerf those things slightly to balance. But still, I would like to see, Joe probably can be nerfed a little bit so that his 100 hand slap doesn't have forever juggle, for no reason, because I've never really known this about KOF, how the juggle system works, but, Olaf's been explaining it to me and everything like that. Most moves usually have a use limit as a juggle, and some moves are tied. Like, sometimes the EX is tied to the regular, sometimes they're considered two separate moves, and so if you use it once in the juggle, you can't use it again. It'll just whiff, right? So I didn't realize that's how that worked. For some reason, Joe's has no limit. It's just like the hand slap just keeps hitting.
I don't want big nerfs for sure. I do think it would be nice if like Ralph Stan D wasn't like quite like how it is, or like if Vanessa maybe didn't like do quite as much damage with one EX bar, like a couple of things, here and there for sure. But at the same time, I would not want big nerfs, and I would mostly want buffs. I happen to, as I sometimes do, tried to learn characters who, and it turns out, are not good. I was really into Ramon and Whip at the start, and they're just not at all good. Not at all good.
Make a decision and not play them.
Of course, I haven't been playing them. Yeah, I've been playing characters who I think are good, but it would be cool to play them. I think Whip could be cool, but make sure you don't whiff anything, or else everybody's gonna run up on you and you're dead right away. So,
who's your team right now? Who's your main team right now?
I'm most playing Chizuru, King, and Dinosaur. Sometimes I'm putting in Maxima instead of Chizuru.
Okay. Interesting. Nice.
Anyway, I think this is all cool. I'm looking forward to the new DLC. I'm not playing any of the current DLC, but I do think that they all seem good and interesting. I mean, Gato and Rock, I think, are like personally really interesting characters. Yeah, very strong for sure. But interesting and have a lot of uniquenesses within the cast. So I think that's really cool. I'm happy with it. Anything else to say about KOF and what's happening, etc.?
Nope, nothing comes to mind.
Yeah, nothing.
Dude,
All
when
right.
when Rock does projectile canceled into the forward moving super, I don't know any names in this game for moves, whatever it's called.
Forward moving super.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the fireball actually like makes him safe or plus on block is hilarious, super funny.
Dude, I mean, every time I talk about Leona, she has that one move. That move's name is that's the only, like, when you do like, that's
I actually know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, dude, that's all
makes
that.
total sense.
It's supposed to be called like Baltic Launcher or something, but whatever, dude. It's to me, so that's what it's gonna be forever.
Works for me. Works for me.
Oh, man.
All right. Cool.
Okay, next game. This one came out of left field completely. We've all been waiting for the Street Fighter V supposed March update, and then they just came out with a trailer on Twitter. No special announcements, nothing. Just showed up.
Yep.
And it is
sure did.
not what I was expecting at all.
It is full of big changes, full of much bigger changes than I certainly expected. I don't know if anybody expected the amount of stuff that they're showing off there. They showed, I don't know, a dozen different characters, something like that. And every one of them had some substantially new, potentially interesting and useful combo route, at least, if not neutral tools.
And they've been leaking out other changes on their Twitter feed as well since then.
Wait, have they?
They have.
Oh,
They
dang, I
showed some
haven't
new stuff
noticed.
with Bison today.
Yeah, so Bison, they showed doing something he can't do right now, and it turns out that it is target combo into V-Skill 2 that just works. Yeah, so again, like something different. But yeah, they talked about that on Twitter.
Okay.
So they showed a bunch. I'm not going to name all of them, but like Ryu, Ed, Alex, Poison, Ibuki, Akuma, Gil, Rose, etc. Like a lot
Dude.
of different characters.
Remember how the meme was out there that when Rose activates the mirror super, I mean the image super, you're just like, take the throw. Oh boy.
Yeah.
The shadow kick OTGs.
It's such a well-targeted change. Because you're right, that was what you did if she had that V-trigger activated. You just blocked it out. If she throws you, it was going to be gone before she had Oki on you, so like, don't worry about it. But now, if she already has it active and she throws you, then she gets a full combo. Super sick, well-targeted, and also newish mechanic. There are OTGs actually in Street Fighter V, but they're all tied to like moves that you don't see very often, and they all require that the opponent does not do a quick rise.
Yeah, that has to be they don't quick rise.
Not very useful, but this one is definitely useful. And they showed other stuff too, other newish mechanics. Jury has a restand. Her V-trigger 2 actually restands.
And it was animated very well.
Yeah.
Just to point out, surprisingly so.
I hear you.
And none of us were, I mean, we were all just hoping for like, here's the final, like, little slightly adjustments here. Now, obviously this was not announced at the Japanese Roundtable, but Shuhei Matsumoto talked about it, and I think they also tweeted that, but they were saying like, look, we understand our game really well, and although this seems crazy, we're trying to do this really smart. We think we're doing a good job balancing it properly. And obviously this is the latest patch. Who isn't to say that they'll make fixes in the future if something turns out too broken and stuff like that? But it's I mean, I'm excited. I tweeted this, and really honestly, I'm just going to say it. It feels like now that Ono is gone, like the two guys are like, let's go and just do everything that we wanted to do this whole entire time and just go crazy with the
You just wait until Ono's in charge of Capcom again. You're getting fired. You're never doing commentary for Capcom again, James Chen.
Probably.
You just wait. He's going to call you into his office. He's going to be like, well, Blanca-chan said you're out of here. And that's it. GG's, bro.
He takes a picture of James's butt walking out the door with Blanca in front of him.
Yeah, I know, right?
Burning his contract.
Shoryuken, exactly. I mean, no, but honestly, it feels like that because ever since they've been able to do a lot of crazier things, like the Akira stuff, the Oro stuff. Like, they've just kind of gone ham with like the craziness in the game. And I remember when the V-Trigger 2s first showed up, all of a sudden, like, Nash was able to do, like, crazy-ass things. And, it really just feels like this is what they've kind of wanted to do all along. And again, I trust them, and it's why I probably have a little bit too much faith in Street Fighter 6, because like I feel like these guys kind of know what they're doing right now, Nakayama and Matsumoto-san. But we'll see how it goes.
Well, I have a question to ask you then, James. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it would do a lot of positivity for the goodwill of Street Fighter 6 if they finally fixed the netcode of Street Fighter 5? Because that was something that was not announced.
Of course it would. Now, there's something I can't even imagine that must be hard-coded into the game that makes it so that they can't fix it, and that the Ultimore patch, we didn't find it because it hadn't been out long enough or something. Because there has to be a reason why that they have not touched the netcode this entire goddamn time. And I just want to play Smug's video where he's fixed the netcode and he's just like whipping on the pillow and stuff like that. Like, honestly, because of course it would be goodwill. Of course it would make everybody happy to see it. I don't know why they've never fixed the netcode. It makes no sense to me at all whatsoever.
Do you have faith that Street Fighter 6 will have good netcode?
Yes, because of MVCI.
Yeah, and also because the industry has changed. The standards are that you have rollback. You must, and not just rollback, obviously they have it. Good working netcode. That's industry standard now for new games. And if SF6 comes out, which is not coming out now, it's coming out in a year or whatever, I don't know, a couple years.
Take your time.
If by that time they don't have good netcode, every single game on the market at that point will have good netcode and will have had good netcode for a while. They cannot launch it and have bad netcode and have it be as much of a success. I do think that Street Fighter V showed that even if a Street Fighter game launches and it has a bunch of problems, people will still play it.
But it was a different time. It was a different time.
Yeah. I think that's right. At that time, Street Fighter hadn't had like a huge miss at launch.
And 4 was always, and 4 had brought so much like hype back.
Absolutely. So there was that huge miss, and also at the time, the standards weren't as high for some things at least. And since then, a lot of people did actually stop playing Street Fighter V and went on to the many other excellent games right now. And there is just a different landscape in terms of what the expectations are. In a way, kind of. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. But if they then launch Street Fighter 6, some diehards will be there. Diehards will be there, of course. But there will not be the big adoption of it in the way that happened in Street Fighter 5. It's just that same thing wouldn't happen again.
Most people are going to tell you KOF 14 was pretty dang fun. And KOF 15 right now seems like a pretty big success right now. That's netcode, man. Like I said, 14 was fun, but the netcode sucked. Samurai Showdown was fun, but the netcode sucked. Like, netcode not being good kills your game. It really just does. And so Street Fighter 6 comes out with bad netcode, that game is DOA. I will I just think it's just done. There's just no way to do it. So,
well, I do have trust in the team. Yeah,
yes.
I do think that I believe in them now. And that's the case not just for SF6, but for SF5. For all these things that they're doing, I believe that they have a good enough knowledge of what their game is like and what works in it. And I think that they've done a great job at bringing fun. I really, really like the state of the game right now, and they're responsible for that. Whoever was there when SF5 was first made, they're not the people I'm giving credit to. It's the people who have been working there over the last few years. And I know that there have been changes in personnel. So definitely congrats to them, and I'm looking forward to all this new stuff that we're going to find in literally next week. It'll be launching next Tuesday.
Yeah, and today, just like on Who's Line It Anyway, I'm going to announce a winner of the stream today, even though the points don't matter. Tap2GG definitely wins for best comment in the chat. He just says it's a different manscape for fighting games right now.
What? If you're listening on the audio version, that's the first time you've heard that.
Did you say it earlier?
No, we didn't actually. I just thought it'd be funny to not say anything.
Okay.
But yeah, we are sponsored by Manscaped. How about that? We'll talk about more about that in a bit. As far as Street Fighter V goes, there was actually other stuff. So they are putting out a cell shading filter and a pixel filter and new tracksuit colors And also, Cap Jam's remixes will be in the game. Their songs that they've put out will be in the game.
Yeah, the filters, aka this looks neat, and what the hell is happening, filters?
Okay, but which one in your mind is which there?
I actually think the cell shading one looks decent, but like the pixel one, what? I mean,
Listen,
look,
nobody could even see what's going on in the pixel one.
Dude,
It's very weird. The pixel one's very weird.
It's gonna look worse, obviously, on a compressed video put on YouTube, but I can't imagine it's gonna look that much better.
No one's using that shit.
It looked. I was so confused by it. Like,
I was sorry to see that that's something that you put on like the whole screen. I was hoping it'd be like a character choice, and that the other person that you're playing against would be forced to look at it, so that I could pick pixelated Kappa Honda only.
But you can't even use it. You can't even use it online, dude.
That's well. I found that out. Yeah. But when I first saw it, I was like, "Ooh, I get to do this." Ooh.
Of course. Man.
Yeah.
Wait, is there actually an MK11 ASCII filter?
Is there? I don't know about it. If so, that would be sick. I do know that in MKX they had the worst Scorpion outfit of all time, which I love.
Yeah, that one was awful.
What was it called? He looked
the
like
heat signature one.
Yeah,
right?
heat signature something. I don't remember exactly. It was some name that wasn't that. But anyway,
it was like
very
the Predator was looking at him through his heat signature lens.
Exactly.
Oh,
There's really. Are you
everyone
serious,
yeah.
Stephanie? I had no idea. I got to look this up later.
I'm totally looking this up right
Infrared
now.
Scorpion. Thank you.
It was awful.
It was awful. Yeah, absolutely right. It was great. Tracksuit colors will be there. Obviously, the big news again is that there's going to be all these changes and that they're coming out March 29th. So we get to have a party. We don't know most of the characters' changes. And even the characters that we showed, it's hard to imagine that they showed off all of the stuff. There's just such big changes coming that it seems like there's probably going to be like a really long list for almost everybody.
Yeah.
Except, I hope for the sake of players who like playing their slow and steady, boring type characters, I hope that they get to continue doing their stuff. You know, I hope that the Karen players, the Cammy players get to keep living the boring life and just doing effective things without having very much fun doing it, which they enjoy.
Hey. Rod TV said that Cammy is extremely fun and that Karin has honest footsies. Remember that. Rod Champion Rod TV from the Midwest.
He did say that
From
Cammy,
the Midwest?
in his mind, is not a boring character, and I don't understand. Okay, hey, have fun, everybody. I hope may we all have fun in our own separate ways.
You Street Fighter V players are a different breed. Different breed.
You're not going to come back, huh? Even after all these OTGs?
No. No. Stop it.
How did you get so bright as well, Brandon? Did you are you looking at a white page on your monitor all of a sudden?
There is a white page on my monitor, yeah.
Okay, there you go. Okay. Yeah.
That's
no, honestly, I wouldn't have quit Cammy if she wasn't so goddamn boring, right? I mean, like, I get it. Because, I mean, even in Street Fighter 4, what was it? I played her because of the Tiger Knee Cannon Strike. Because that was actually kind of neat. It was a way to get your offense going again when you push yourself too far back out, etc. It was really cool. As soon as they took that away, I lost interest in her because then she reverted back to back throw into Vortex Cammy, and then in 5 they didn't change much about her, and I'm sad. Like, honestly, Tiger Knee Cannon Strike Cammy might be the second most fun Cammy that there has been, but obviously that move was super good. We get that, but at least you keep that, but balance her around that, Yeah,
that would have made sense.
Oh, man. Dude, trust me, Zilch, Cammy's my favorite, one of my favorite Street Fighter characters ever because I've gone to battle with her so much. But the thing is, when I played her in Super Turbo, I played a grappler. I 100% played a grappler, and that was it. And I never realized how much I just played her as a grappler until recently. So.
Oh yeah. All right. Anything else to say about this Street Fighter game?
The Cap Jam stuff is really, really cool because their music is really neat, and their mixes are really, really nice. So I'm happy about that.
Gone to battle with Cammy White.
Cap Jams.
I mean, no,
Chen.
I describe it that way because honestly, you look at the fandom of players with their characters, and a lot of it really just comes down to being like war buddies. You know, I mean, you have gone to battle with these characters so often that you just gain this camaraderie with that character. You know, obviously, people out there can divorce themselves from that, but a lot of people, I mean, there's a reason why when Street Fighter 3 came out, the game bombed, and when 4 came out, there was a line around the block because people were going like, "My God, Blanca's back, Dial's back." You know, there's reasons for that. So
yeah, it's because Blanca's cool and Guile's cool and Remy and Necros suck.
How dare you? First of all, second of all, yeah, I've had many important conversations with my war buddy. You know, there I am after a long, hard-fought session with my war buddy, and I turn to him and I go, "Good fight, huh?" And he goes, "Ugh." Good old Third Strike Q. Man, what a beautiful character. All right.
Q is making it to Street Fighter 6. I'm really curious to see what time. Well, it has to take place after 5 because Luke and Ryu looked a little older. But I'm just wondering how much. Is it going to be still before Third Strike? Is it going to be after Third? So many questions.
I think they're going to finally go past Third Strike. I think that's the move.
All right. Fighting game Roundtable. Third Roundtable that they've ever done. Really happy that they brought it back because I was wondering, where are my roundtables? I really love these things. Yeah, we didn't get anything greatly new out of them, but I just love listening to the devs talking to each other. Did you guys get a chance?
Here's who we had. Yes, I did watch. We had Harada from Tekken. We had Daisuke from Guilty Gear. We had Akira Katano from Guilty Gear Strive. We had Akira Nishitani from Arika. We had Shuhei Matsumoto from Street Fighter V. We had Oda from King of Fighters. And we had Seiji Aoki from Virtua Fighter Esports. So a nice little round table of folks there. And then Hamako on there as well. And yeah, I liked it. I watched a bunch of it. So briefly, they talked about things like, what do you think about free-to-play in fighting games? And the differences and various advantages, etc., between 2D and 3D fighting games. They talked about how they feel about their competitors' products, how the other fighting games, you know. They also talked about what genres they liked outside of fighting games. That was cool. Harada is a shooter games player. He likes playing FPS. He also likes playing strategy games like Civilization, because he was saying that his family sees the Civ game and they think that he's doing work, because I guess in some way it looks similar to whatever he's doing as work. Right. And so they don't bother him while he's playing Civ.
All right.
Which is a great answer.
I mean, honestly, you know, even as silly as some of those things sound and everything like that, I love that. I love getting the personalities out of them. And, you know, I've often said that Shuhei just looks like somebody that I just want to hug. He just seems so adorable. You know what I mean? He's like,
I feel like he's the kind of guy that I would like go have a beer with.
Yeah.
You know? Like we could talk about stuff. TuboWare and him, they would talk about music, and I would talk with him about like video games and stuff.
Yeah,
I feel like that's, like they could talk about sneaker culture or whatever, and I would be like, whatever. But then I would grab a beer for us.
I remember before Carolyn left Capcom, like I asked her, I was like, please tell me Matsumoto is just as adorable in person as he seems in all the videos and stuff. And she was like, he is the most adorable person ever. And I was like, yes. Because I mean, oh yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say he plays one-player games because he does competitive games all day at work, which makes sense to me. That's what his answer was. Daisuke said he likes indie games just as a broad category, which is like super on brand. And Oda likes one-player games as well. He mentioned Ghost of Tsushima. So yeah, I thought that was cool. A little insight into them, you know, what they like outside of stuff. Cool.
And the cool thing was, like, even though the second segment was completely fluff and useless, they did this thing where they busted out their treasures, like, and the studio team had a contest with the remote people. Hamiko had to be the judge. Poor Hamiko, because he had some tough time making decisions. But some of the stuff that they made that they showed was incredible. You know, like Harada showing all of the Tekken concept stuff with Walrus Man. who I'm going to freeze. Okay. I'm going to freeze you and eat you. There's like literally a guy in like this walrus costume, and it's written like as like a word balloon above his head that says like I'm going to freeze you and eat you. Matsumoto actually busted out the entire like Street Fighter the animated movie, like the first one, storyboard,
actual film reel.
Dude,
24 millimeter.
It might as well have been. It was the entire storyboard in a book.
Oh, like, that's cool.
He actually had and then he busted out a Japanese copy of the Street Fighter, the American movie soundtrack. Which then I later on stream busted out my copy of it, which was still sealed.
Oh my God.
All right. So Matsumoto and I are best friends. He even said his favorite fighting game character in King of Fighters was Kenso. Me and Matsumoto are best friends. Like right now, the two of us, we are buddies, dude. Next time
send him an email.
Yeah, send him a message saying, "Hey, you're adorable." See how that goes.
Best friend.
Maybe it'll go well.
Kind of already did.
Okay, well, good luck.
Slide in those DMs, James.
Yeah, slide right in there. Good luck.
I kind of already did. Oh man.
Okay. Well, look, they did talk about some other stuff. We talked about a lot of the things that they talked about, but another thing that they showed there, but that was also shown elsewhere, was that in DNF Duel, the release date will be June 28th. They also...
Which is wild because it's not at EVO, which
would
be a whole other discussion. But
yeah. No, I think actually...
Weird to me. Very weird.
I actually think this is the perfect time to talk about that. Let me just briefly say that they also showed Ghostblade character. They teased, I believe, female mechanic is what I read. And it's also going to be in the next season of the Arc Revo World Tour. But yeah, I mean... Let's talk about that because I think that's very interesting.
I'm sorry. Was it $100,000 prize for both games? So it's going to be $200,000 total. Arc Revo will give out $100,000 for each game. So that's really sick. Huge. Good job to them. Dude.
Does Duel have a place that is going to be like a lasting impact in the competitive FGC? Like, is it like a side piece for fans of Dungeon Fighter generally, or is it going to be more than that? Because yeah, the fact that it's not at EVO, which will be taking place over a month later, EVO is in early August, and in the past they have had games that have come out in about that window, a little bit over a month at EVO. Is that a sign that like it's not going to be pushed / adopted, or at least in their minds? I don't know. What do you think?
It could just be that Rick has a different philosophy, that maybe that's still even too soon or something like that. Or you never know. They probably maybe have an exhibition over there. How much you want to bet they have like an exhibition where they just like get certain players to actually enter a tournament? Like they'll check the pulse to see in the first 2 weeks, Chris G will probably be killing everybody with, weird obscure character, and they'll invite him and Justin and, Tokido, TuboWare, Daigo. I mean, all these players are clearly in the same class. So, I think, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was like some sort of exhibition or something for the game there.
I think they just weren't willing to pay ball. And EVO's like, look here, you're a new game. You give us X amount of dollars. And they're like, you know what? Nah, we don't need you. Our IP's too big anyways. That's what I think probably happened.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. I don't know. I don't know what happened myself. Obviously, none of us know. I would like it to be in places like EVO or just in tournaments in general. I really enjoyed the beta. I had a blast with it.
It was so fun.
It was really fun. And
sad I didn't get to play it.
I mean, I say that without even having known about a lot of the stuff at the time. I didn't see anybody. I never played against a Crusader, and I didn't see anybody using Crusader on a stream until after that weekend. And so I didn't know that he was Aganos. What? They put Aganos in this game? So, when it actually comes out, I don't even know who I'm going to play. It might be Aganos, might be Grappler, might be Dawson, whatever the Dawson character.
Who is the me character?
The you. You're hard to pick for.
Yeah.
I'm not hard to pick. I feel like I pick a very
We'd have to
straightforward
find
line of
which character is the best in the game, and then that's what you would
It's
pick, right?
pretty
So,
yeah, pretty much. I feel like it's pretty easy to
yeah.
pick.
I mean, I fought against a Crusader, and it was really interesting. I was like, "What the heck?" I mean, it was funny because like I didn't know what I was doing. I only played like 2 hours of it right before it closed, and like I fought some guy, and I was like, "Let me try Grappler." Not a good character to try to learn in 2 hours, I think, of playtime. So I quickly switched to the Inquisitor because she had the giant wheel of death, which was just, like I said, every time I unleashed it, I kept screaming on my stream, "The wheel of fate is turning," like every time I bust that out. And like I fought someone who destroyed me, then he switched to their secondary, and then I started figuring out what to do, and then they went to Crusader, and like me and him fought like Inquisitor to Crusader for like this large chunk, and it was, dude, it was a blast. Like the game, like I say it in the most genuinely happy way possible. The game felt very degenerate, and I say that with 100% positivity. Like I was loving it.
Whoa!
And this
James,
wheel comes out
this
and
game,
spins for 5 seconds.
This game has beginner-friendly mechanics, though, James. I don't think you're allowed to like this.
No. See, what a lot of people don't understand is I think beginner-friendly mechanics suck, but beginner-friendly gameplay, that is what DNF Duel has, and I just didn't get a chance to talk about that, to be honest, because my video was already 25 minutes long, and I had to cut it in half. So I didn't get a chance to get to the second half of it. But honestly, like just being able to throw out a giant wheel of death and lock them down for like 5 seconds, like that's not a beginner-friendly gameplay mechanic. That's just, it's fucking fun, like you just get happy doing that. That's the point, right? That's what's amazing.
I'm very excited for it. I'm looking forward to the game a lot, but I guess I'm not sure. It feels to me, as far as its sort of competitive likelihood of getting picked up big time, it's a stacked FGC environment right now. Oof. And I think it's stacked in a way where many of the like sub genres of fighting games have really good like high profile representatives in them right now. You know what I mean? Like it's sometimes been in the case in the past, like there hasn't been like a great modern 3D fighter, or like there hasn't been like a really good new anime air dasher type game or whatever. You know what I mean? Like these little various subgenres, but I feel like all of them are represented right now. And so I hope that there will be a room for the competitive FGC. I feel like it'll sell. I guess that's not what I'm worried about. Probably not as much as some other games, but like it'll sell for sure. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. I hope that there will be people who play it. I'm looking forward to trying it out again. I'm not going to commit to taking it seriously competitively like any game, but I will expect that I'm going to enjoy it because I like the beta so much. Yeah, so I hope there will be people playing it. Yeah,
it's clearly the best worst time for fighting games, or the worst best time for fighting games, because like there's so many games and it's so awesome, but it's awful because I can't play all of them. And they are all good. When it was like you had to worry about playing Street Fighter or Mace the Dark Age, you're just like no problem, dude. No problem.
Listen, man, all 12 Mace the Dark Age fans are going to be very upset with you.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's right. I gotta learn my lessons from Justin talking trash about Street Fighter the movie, right? So, oof.
That's right. By the way, there were also announcements for the other games that were there. Arika Fexel is going to have a new netcode system that they say is the next generation of netcode. It already has rollback. And they're saying that this is the next generation of netcode, that it will be 2 to 3 times as good. This is the claim. Looking forward to that. Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Sure, I don't know what that means, but sure.
Yeah. I mean, we would all love that, of course, if they figured out some way to drastically improve netcode. And then also, Virtua Fighter is actually going to get Tekken costumes. Not just costumes, but like the whole like HUD is
it's just
Tekken.
them. Yeah, and it's just them, dude. Like it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So there actually is stuff coming for Virtua Fighter. They also said they're going to be hosting more tournaments to help grow the scene. No new game on the horizon, but yeah. Anyway, there you go. A little bit of info
I know.
About the Roundtable.
Dude, as soon as Fexel announced that, all I could say was, are they going to absorb the netcode? like
You're playing in Antarctica
Sega.
in a cave on 1 bar, 3G wireless, and you're still gonna be able to play someone in the Midwest. That's the evolution of Fexel.
Yeah, my training partner for Fexel is on the International Space Station.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. Well, you good? Anything else to say about this?
At first, when I saw that video, I thought they actually put Jin and Heihachi into the game, and I was like, "Whoa, they're adding new characters!" And then it was costumes, and I was kind of sad, but at the same time, probably don't want to disrupt the environment of the game just at this point in time.
Yeah,
so.
if you're gonna do that, just make a new game at this
Exactly,
point. That one's been through enough.
For sure.
Yeah, unless you want to make a VF5 HDR, then maybe. Anyways, okay, we've been making Julian wait long enough, so let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we're gonna bringing on Mr. Beautifuldude to the stream. So,
well, before we go, James, I've been wondering something all stream long.
Yes.
Before we were contacted by them, had either of you heard of Manscaped before?
Yes.
I have. Yes.
I'm very invested in hair
Yes.
technology. Yes.
You have. Ooh. All right. Well, I guess I'm the only one. But did you know that the Lawnmower 4.0 can trim not only your junk and your balls, but it can also trim your butthole? And I know this because I tried it out. And let me tell you, my butthole has never been as hairless as it is right now. Not since like 1996, at the very least. And it has a light. It has a light on it, so when you're looking back in the mirror, you can clearly see your butthole. It's extremely useful.
This is important. I mean, this is important stuff right here. I mean, because that's like the whole thing, right? I mean, again, you can use the coupon code UCTV for 20% off of all orders at manscaped.com.
That's right, James. If free shipping at manscaped.com, just use code UCTV and unlock the confidence you've always wanted in your shaved butthole.
Look,
I'm laughing so much here, TuboWare, is that I did exactly the same thing.
Man,
They
that's
sent
about
us,
right.
Look,
the merch to try out.
look,
So we tried it out. What do you want from me, James?
If you guys want hair-free buttholes,
all I'm just gonna say
manscaped.com.
is that as an Asian man, outside of what you see right now, there is only one thing that I can trim. All right.
Well,
I'm definitely not gonna be able to. I don't think I'm gonna be able to trim where the sun doesn't shine. So unfortunately,
man.
so.
Hey,
well, trust me, with the light on the Lawnmower 4.0,
Oh.
the sun will be shining. You have the power
Fair
of the
enough.
sun
Fair enough.
in the
fair
palm of your
enough.
hand. It's right
All
there.
right.
Hey, give me that call to action one more time.
Yeah, sure. You get 20% off and free shipping with code UCTV at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code UCTV. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
Beautiful.
Shave your butthole.
Beautiful. All right. Oh, man.
All right, let's bring
so-
on Beautiful
so,
Dude.
Yeah.
Beautiful dude. Oh wait, what's this in the chat? Beautiful dude has left the Discord.
Oh, he's got his own Lawnmower 4.0 for sure. He's already on board.
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah,
Already
for
on
sure.
board.
All right.
He
All
knows what a
right.
clean butthole feels like.
All right.
All right. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are bringing on our guest for today, and that is going to be none other than, borrowing a phrase from Rob TV, Mr. Beautifuldude. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, how you guys doing? It's me, Beautiful Dude. Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for coming on, bro.
For sure.
Thank you. It's I've always wanted to be on the show, so I appreciate you guys having me on.
Like I said in the pre-show, I fought for you. I was like, listen, we're making this happen. So actually, I hit you up and you immediately hit me back, said, yeah, I want to be on the show. So that made my life really easy. I appreciate it.
Don't underestimate me being bored at work. Don't underestimate. I was like this.
Same, yeah, same.
I like the hair. Looking cool out there.
Oh, trust me, Flotas. During the break, we already mentioned it, so we already said that's a requirement to come on here. So you know.
Yeah, and he's freshly shorn.
But we got it done.
Yeah,
that's right. We had to do it just now. All right, so we're gonna get to other things. We're gonna talk about a bunch of stuff, but as per usual, let's start off by asking you how you got into the competitive FGC.
The origins is pretty simple. I knew Fu. You guys, he's a Potemkin player. You guys may know him.
Yep.
I've known him since we were in elementary school, and he got me into fighting games around high school. And he's like, "Hey, there's this game called Guilty Gear. It's pretty sick." I'm like, that's for nerds. I don't play fighting games. I don't play those games. I used to be a jock in high school. I was like, I don't play those games. And he told me, but it has this beautiful character named Zato, and he has blonde hair. I'm like, oh! And then I started playing.
That's all it took to get you in there.
What a story. Okay, all right, cool, dude. What made you a jock? Were you captain of the football team?
I played football, and I was like, yeah, football sports, and I used to play that a lot. And then Fu introduced me to Guilty Gear, and it actually ruined my life. It was pretty good.
Absolutely. Well,
yeah. Now you're a nerd. Now you're a nerd, Julian.
You're CRT free.
It's true. I like anime.
Oh, wait, no, it's not CRT. What's the brain thing?
Oh, the headband. Oh, it's so hot in here. Like it's
no. I mean NFL. I was saying you don't have the brain because you stopped playing.
The thing that TuboWare got from playing football.
Yeah. Basically,
CTA.
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, something. I said CRT.
Oh yeah.
Issue.
3 of the 4 people on this stream
that's what it is.
played football. All right, so James is the only nerd.
God, David, how come you never played football?
That's actually true.
No, you want to know what my football story is, or should I waste this time here? Like my football story is the best football story in elementary school. I was such a low threat, and we were playing two conversions for a first down, right? To get past the scrimmage twice for first down. I was such a low threat, no one covered me. So me and my best friend had the strategy that I would walk past the scrimmage line and stand there, and everybody else would get covered, and my best friend would look for someone to pass to, and then he would just hand me the ball. And we won game after game after game this way, and no one ever caught on.
Wow.
It was amazing.
You were the best. You were actually the best, it turns out. All right, so when it came to you picking up a fighting game, we've talked with a bunch of people who had kind of sports backgrounds and then got into fighting games more competitively. Were you just like a competitive person looking for some outlet for that?
Yeah, I've always been a competitive person, even to this day, and being introduced and getting my butt kicked from Fu for so long just made me want to get better, and this kind of evolved from there. It went from Guilty Gear and then went to Street Fighter because I'm basically an 09er more or less, right? So sports background really made me want to be competitive in these games because I don't like to lose. It's just how it is. I don't like to lose, and it made me want to get better. And then I went to Marble 3. Marble 3 was actually my first actual go to tournaments game. Was actually Marble 3. It's a
smart man. I always do. I like 3.
I had Taskmaster. Let's go. And then who cares? Taskmaster. We got Nova. Then you got Virgil on the back. It's okay. Not Virgil. It's fine. And that's just how it happened. Really, was just competitive background. Just always loved to compete.
Well, but what about fighting games were the thing, or was it really just that Fu happened to draw you in? I mean, there's so many different types of competitive.
Yeah, I mean, you could have been playing FPS or RTS.
I mean, were you a gamer before, at all before that?
Yeah, I would say I was, but what drew me to fighting games is that, in my opinion, at least when I got into them, I felt like every time I lost was my fault, and I have to, I never liked MOBA.
Yeah.
I never liked the Counter-Strike. I mean, they're fun. I could play them for funsies, but I could never really get into it because there's always an outlying factor, right? I feel like there's always an outlying factor, at least something of some lines, like a MOBA, like League. I played a little bit of League, and I was like, I couldn't do it. It was too stressful for me. I'm not even kidding. It was too stressful. I couldn't do it. Letting down the team like that. But in fighting game, if I lost, it was my fault. And it was mostly my fault, at least I think, right? And I like that kind of responsibility where it's like it's on me to get better. It's on me to.
I understand.
Level.
Yeah, unlike when you're quarterback of the football team and you're making the pass and somebody else drops it, like that sucks, right? You know that feeling well.
Oh yeah, like yeah, exactly. Or so, like the quarterback gets sacked or something. Like, oh damn it, that was out of my control. Something like that. Oh, we lost because that.
Yeah.
Those things. It's fine to have their place and they're great, but for me, I personally like that the personal responsibility that fighting games or a single player type of things have.
And kind of piggybacking on that, there was something that we talked about a long time ago. Speaking to your competitive nature, it's kind of one of the things that turns you into a Zato expert, right? Because people said that playing Zato on a pad was going to be impossible.
That was one of my biggest motivations. No joke. Fu, it was one of the people like, you can't do that, Julian. You can't learn Zato on pad. You can't learn. It was accent court Eddie at the time. You can't learn Eddie on pad. You can't do it. You have to buy a stick. You got to do it. And I was at the time pretty poor, and I was also extremely stubborn. I said, no, I will learn him on pad. I'll show you, and I'll show everybody else. And I had to invent, at least at the time, invent how to play Eddie on pad, because besides one maybe two people. There was no pad eddies at that time, and especially for Plus R. I'm pretty sure for Plus R, 'cause that's when I really started getting to Guilty Gears Plus R. There was no pad eddies. They all either stopped playing in Plus R or Eddie was a rare breed at that time. So I pretty much had to invent how to play him myself. There was a lot of stubbornness and motivation.
I'm curious about that. I don't know. I haven't played Plus R myself. What about that character made pads so difficult? And then how did you go about like solving this problem of that everybody else had identified?
Basically, he has a big thing with negative edge where you have to hold buttons. For people that don't know, you have to hold buttons and you release buttons and something happens, and Zato is all about doing that. He's two characters at once. So
Right.
my whole thing was, how do I get around the limitation of holding multiple buttons without having a stick? Because the advantage of having stick, you have your fingers instead of a thumb, right? So you can easily hold the slash and the punch button with ease, because you're using your fingers like this. With a thumb, you're going like you're using this, which is a lot more difficult.
Right.
Sure.
So I had to find a way to make that work, and my strategy was using Eddie's moves that has a lot of blocks done, and then when that is happening, I would quickly switch my thumb to the other side, and the combo won't drop, because the Mawaru has like a hit that goes ching ching, right? I can kind of switch fingers really fast between that. And I also developed a technique of kind of ghosting my thumb on, like, for example, you see the heavy slash is the drill. I have the drill right here. I do 2-2H, and at the same time, I'm also holding the slash, which is the triangle button right here. So I do 2-2H drill, and if someone jumps on me, just easily release S, and it's not hard. It's actually not that crazy once you get to it.
Now, does that feel? I mean, are there any things that you actually can't do that other Zato players can, and are there things that you can do that others can't?
Honestly, it's always tough to do like the punching stuff with like Eddie Punch, like the Eddie P. It's a little bit easier in Strive now, and in Exert it's not that hard too. But that's always like the thing that's a little bit more difficult, because it's in an awkward spot. It's all the way over here. But I also developed a way to kind of get around it. Like maybe I'll do off a drill, then quickly switch back, and then switch back the 2S. But there's also some higher execution stuff that's hard, like the old games like Shadow Gallery loops and stuff. I never to this day learned how to do it. I don't know how to do Shadow Gallery loops. I get yelled at all the time. I'm like, it's fine. You don't have to be optimal to win in Guilty Gear. You really don't. You don't have to do that at all. It's a big misconception, by the way. Just putting that out there, that people say like you have to do optimal stuff all the time. That is not true. Not in Guilty Gear. Not in Guilty Gear.
I mean, in fighting games,
I want to hear more about that.
Yeah. Talk to us about that.
People, it'd be optimizations. Like, that's always a misconception with these characters like Zato or Relius and BlazBlue or something like that, where it's like you have to do the craziest stuff to win. You got to do the high execution, be optimal all the time. And, it's one of the things that motivates me. Like every time I do really well in the tournament, or I win a major or get top 8, I'm like, see, look, I play these basic ass versions of Zato or Relius, and I do really well. You can play a basic game plan and do fantastic, because you have these characters that literally have the most insane neutral and great set play. You don't have to do the insane execution stuff. Does it help? Of course. But do you have to do it? No. And that's why I always try to prove it's all about having the simplified game plan.
It's like I said, I mean, I feel like that's true of just about any fighting game. You know, I often tell people that when I try to teach them fighting games that, you know, forcing yourself to be optimal is not the right way to go, honestly. You can be optimal for yourself.
Nothing feels worse than dropping the combo because you try to get 200 or 300 more damage, or something like that. It's not worth it, in my opinion, especially in a tournament setting. You drop that combo. In Guilty Gear, they do tech buttons and they murder you. You're like, well, that sucks.
Yeah, you've had a lot of success. I mean, you've won big tournaments. You've been in top 8s in big events. I guess maybe we should have said that if people watching aren't somebody who follows Arxis types games very closely, like Beautifuldude's had a lot of success in tournaments. And yeah, I think that it is commonly the case that people in a big tournament winning kind of role will try to squeeze everything that they can out of it. So I think this is a really interesting perspective. What do you feel allows you to keep up? I mean, what other sides of the fighting game sort of gameplay, like, are you maybe lifting up even higher than somebody else who may be concentrating more on execution?
I hope this answers the question, but I feel like my secret to success or doing well is playing multiple fighting games. I cannot stress that enough. I feel like my fundamentals are pretty strong. I don't like to toot my own horn, but I think my fighting game fundamentals are pretty strong by playing a bunch of different fighting games. So I can come back to my main games and I can put that into it. I played Tekken 7 really hard for a while. I played Soul Calibur. I played all these games. Yeah, I know why you're laughing.
Anyways, continue forward. Yeah.
I love that story. I'll definitely tell it if you want me to. I definitely will, but
I want you to.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Okay, I will. But anyways, playing all these different fighting games and then putting it into Guilty Gear or BlazBlue, whatever, is invaluable, and I can't stress that enough to anyone else who wants to become good. Like just a strong player in any game. You want to become strong, like just in general. I can't stress enough. Playing multiple fighting games will help you do that. It'll make you go it'll make you go faster. I'm not saying it's the only path, but it will help you. It will. All those perspectives. I can't stress enough.
What do you feel specifically like?
Wait, aren't we going to ask him about the story here? Do we want the answer to the story here?
Yeah, let's get the story in.
Okay,
I want to hear it.
Out of the way.
And also, David, move closer to your mic because there you go. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, I'll make this short version because I don't want to spend too much time on it. But basically, what happened, I wasn't gonna do tech. I entered it. I played my 2 month, literally my 1 month and a half year. 1 month and a half. Claudio, green rank Claudio. I was playing Tekken because I think the game is super sick. I was like, wow, this game is so awesome. I love it. Claudio is like me in real life. I've been reading Tekken. I love it. I'm gonna play this game. And I was just playing my friend a little bit, and I was like, I gotta do Guilty Gear. I gotta do Guilty Gear. I'm sorry, I'm gonna DQ myself. And then my friend just tells me, hey, Julian, don't you want to fraud someone out with hop kick? I went, yeah, okay, fine, I'll do it. It's 10 a.m. pools, I'll do it. And I go to play her, and I sit down. I'm getting the Spark Notes version. I sit down, and I'm ready. Like, I already lost my first match. I was like, I'm gonna just die to her. I don't even know who this person is. It was Tanakana. I just kind of heard of her. She had this huge entourage. It was insane. And then I sit down, and I'm playing her, and I know she's nervous because I think she got sent to losers pretty early too, right? So she got sent to losers, and I'm playing her, and I noticed she's scared. And that's one thing. I've been playing fighting games for a long time. I know when somebody is scared. Right. I know when someone is scared. So I kind of took advantage of that. Every single time I saw AOP, the Art of Phoenix stance, for people that know what that is in Tekken, I hop kick literally every single time because I never fought a Ling in my life. So I didn't even know who Ling was. So, and I'm playing the best one or something like that. So I hop kicked. I did the most net play things you could do. Like I just backdash once, I hop kicked. I did sidestep low, and then I did sidestep again. And guess what I did? I hop kicked, and it was a mix up. And I can tell she was so scared. I was like, oh, I can win this. I won the first game. I was like, I can do this. And then she wins the second game. I'm like, oh no, I can't do this. Like she downloaded me. The typical. Like they take the first game. Yeah, that's why I was like, it's over. I can't do this. It sucks. But I know she's shaking. She's like, I can't. I'm going to lose to this random idiot. And while that's happening, I swear to you guys, in the background, American people are going, send this guy back to Guilty Gear. send him back to anime. I'm like, whoa, hey, like these randoms, these, I can't say that word, but cheerleaders. I'll say that's a nice one. I'll say cheerleaders were going, send him back to Guilty Gear. He doesn't play Tekken. I was flattered he knew who I was at the time, to be honest, but and I kept playing her, and then it's final game. It's the final game. I'm down. I'm up 2-1 rounds. I'm like, oh, I'm about to win. This is crazy, And the cheerleaders are going ballistic, And I can tell she's like. I look at her over. She's shaking again, and she's down to one more combo. That's it. I have one more combo, and I kill it. So I have Starburst, which you guys don't know. It's his Claudio's kind of like enhanced version. Enhances some moves. Yeah. So I do running 2, which is +7 on block. It's a high, but it's +7 on block. And I hit him with the most net play mix-up you can possibly do. Forward 2 on +7, and I go down 2-2. The shoe shine. That's a multi-hitting low where it's like 22 frames or something like that since the first hit. The 2 hits are not a true combo unless it's counter hit. And it wasn't counter hit.
Oh man!
I comboed her, and then I beat her, and I tried to shake her hand, and the worst part was Mateo. Instead of cheering or saying good job, Julian, wow, or hugging me, all he did, he's such a cruel son of a gun. All he did was look at me, look at her, and he just started laughing. It was so cruel.
Oh,
he's like, ah.
Oh man. Yeah. And needless to say, at the time, of course, like Julian said, big following. You were kind of the enemy of Tekken at that point. So
it's very interesting because like the people who were like the net play warriors or like they didn't like me at that time, but the people that actually played Tekken in tournaments, I became really good friends with them, and I started going really hard up in Tekken after that. They were super supportive, and they were super happy. They're like, good shit, good job, Julian, that was awesome. Like, you should play in our locals. I'm like, oh, I will, thank you.
Super cool. Awesome, actually.
Yeah, I love the
What year
Tekken
was that?
community so much. 2017.
Okay.
damn.
I love the Tekken community so much. Like, to this day, I want to play again, honestly. If the netcode ever gets better, I'll play again.
oh, man.
I hear
Well,
that.
you'll be waiting on Tekken 8.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
if Bandai Namco even decides to go rollback, because nothing associated with them is rollback right now.
Who knows?
So you have
what someone said in the chat. It's like Claudio has such a small move set, so you can just play him very fundamentally, and that was something I used to my advantage. Claudio is such a simple character.
Right.
Hop kick, forward 3, running 2, stuff like a great just normal person moveset. I used that.
Normal person, normal guy.
Normal guy.
Oh man.
So you have all this experience in the Guilty Gear games. You talked about a couple of them, but Strive is out, and I am very curious how you felt about Strive, even before release, and then once it was actually out and you were able to try it out. How do you feel about it? How have you been feeling about it?
Strive is an interesting game because it's hard to say. I like the game. I think it's more of its own thing than the actual Guilty Gear, but I think that's okay. And that's nothing wrong with that at all. Mm-hmm. And at the time, that's why I never had a huge backlash with the game. Because, when I first played it all the way back from Arc Revo, the demo, I knew it was going to be something completely different. And, honestly, I think it's cool, and I'm still playing it. I've been playing a lot more BlazBlue because rollback's been amazing.
Oh, right.
But, even since day one, I always felt like, oh, man, this is going to be extremely different whether I like it or not. Personally, I'm an Exer player. I play Accent Core. I'd rather have the games be like that. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I vastly prefer that. I will say that. But as its own thing, I think it's really cool. And I'm glad Strive Zato is super fun and sick to play.
He's so good now.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Oh my god! If he was trash or not in the game, oh my god, I don't know.
2P, what a button! What a great button!
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Dude, just do this. I have an Eddie plush right there. It's great.
Oh, dude, that's so cool. Yeah. It's even the modern Eddie too, dude.
It's the modern Eddie.
Where did you get that from?
I got a commission made. It was someone. I gotta link it one of these soon. But I got a commission made. It's wonderful.
I want one.
Everything you can post them.
I
It is very
want
cool.
one so bad. Holy crap.
Yeah, I'll show you. It's great.
I mean,
Yeah, I think it's a great game. I think it's super cool.
and you know what? I feel like what you were saying about playing multiple games, that kind of leads you to that mindset a little bit. Once you start jumping around and understanding that all the games are so different, even when Guilty Gear itself changes,
Yeah,
like it
it's
makes.
of course all the Guilty Gears have been different from one another, and that's something I have to admit, absolutely. Uh, but to the difference from Strive to the other Guilty Gears is even for that,
Yeah.
it's massive.
Well, I mean, being a player of the older Guilty Gears, though, we're talking about a lot of Strive. Did you think that Guilty Gear would ever be this popular? Did you think that Combo Breaker would have over 800 entrants? 2 months prior to the event happening, like I feel like you guys came from the bottom, now you're here type of situation, right?
And I think that's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I'm very thankful. Like one thing I will always love about Strive is seeing all these new people get into the game. I love Guilty Gear. I love seeing people get into Guilty Gear. I don't care which one you get into. So I see people go into Strive. It makes me happy. And seeing 800 people, like that's so cool. I saw Curly make another update on that. I'm like, my God, like that's awesome. And that's great. I am thankful for that. I just, at the same time, there's a part of me that says, if maybe I'm wrong, and I could totally be wrong, but maybe if Exert had that same amount of love of the marketing, the net code being great, the product being great, would it have the same or maybe less success as Strive? Was it really the Gatlings or the other stuff or Air Movement that really was pulling it back? I'm not convinced by that personally, but still, I still think Strive is sick and it's a lot of fun, and I still play it.
I mean, a good way to put it is I've been a Johnny player, and until Plethora, he was never really good, but that came out late. And then Exerd comes out. Johnny is freaking busted and amazing in that game. And I never played it because of the net code. And I love Guilty Gear, So, yeah, that's a really good question. If that game came out with the net code and all that stuff, would it be as popular as Strive is now? It's a really good question.
Yeah, it's always something. It's a lot of what ifs, right? Obviously, I'm speaking on a purely hypothetical, but it's something to think about. Is that maybe or hypothetical Exit 3 got the same treatment that Strive did? Would it be as popular as Strive is now? Maybe, maybe not. But it is something that I think is worth thinking about.
So you're playing a lot of a game that you have been playing for a long time, BlazBlue. It's now got rollback out. Can you talk about how you feel? What is it that draws you to BlazBlue? We talked a little bit about what you're interested in gear. I'm curious about what you're interested in BlazBlue.
BlazBlue is a kind of like Guilty Gear, where it's pretty free form on what you can do. It's a little bit more structured, but the amount of options you have in your disposal, especially on defense, is something not even Guilty Gear has, in my opinion, which is why to this day it's still my favorite fighting game of all time. At least like the slightly modern is BlazBlue for sure, because not only is defensive mechanics incredible, but the things you can do to escape the cheap stuff in BlazBlue is quite a lot compared to even Guilty Gear Exert or Plus R or Strive, what have you. And that's something I always valued, was having strong offense and strong defense, right? And I feel like BlazBlue was right now at this moment has the right balance of that. So it's been, I feel like, a great experience to play that game all over again. Plus, I love Relius. That character's so sick.
And are you like, obviously you're a little bit more tuned into the BlazBlue community with this rollback. Have you just seen like the most ridiculous resurgence in BlazBlue players at this moment?
It's been insane. Like obviously it's cooled down since it first came out. Especially with all these new games coming out like KOF and Persona.
Right.
Even Personas came out recently.
Right.
But people are still playing. I still see lots of people playing. Every time I stream the game, there's definitely still a good amount of people for me to play. Like as crazy as it was the month one, no, definitely not. But it's still a good amount. There's been a lot of new people that have been playing too, which is really makes me happy to see.
Nice. So, I mean, at this point in time, if do you feel like that this might be a good push or proof to Arxis that it's time to make a new BlazBlue?
Man, oh man, a new Blaze move made by Current Arc.
Yeah,
I would be down for it. Honestly, screw it. I think it'd be neat. I would be a little scared to see see what would happen, to be honest. But hey, you know what? Arxis is pretty rad, and I trust them to make some cool stuff. So I hope BlazBlue comes back in some form. Honestly, they got some good people there.
I'm just like totally just like my brain is going crazy here, but it would be cool if they left BlazBlue as like the complex game, like they didn't try to simplify it like they did with a lot of the other games.
Oh, here we go again on your beginner stuff.
It's so funny how that happened. The history of that, like Guilty Gear was always the complex real man's game. And then BlazBlue was the Blaze Baby game, right? Yep. And I used to be like that too. I was like, this game's for babies. I don't care about BlazBlue. And then now, I'm not even talking about Strive, I'm talking about Exert. If you told me which game is more complex, Guilty Gear or BlazBlue, Guilty Gear Exert Rev 2 or BlazBlue Central Fiction, I say Central Fiction for REIT, not even close. That game is definitely more complex than Guilty Gears. And I played both of them at a high level, I would say. Definitely BlazBlue. Like the characters you have to know, like all these different system mechanics, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's up to you. But that's just how I feel about it.
How do you feel about Testament?
Oh, they're so cool. Honestly, I'm probably gonna play a lot more Strive. I'm gonna enter Combo Breaker for sure. Testament looks so cool. I want to tell you right now, I'm very glad, and I think 90%, except maybe the 10% of angry Testament fans were not happy that they don't have stupid ass webs and invisible tree. They can hold that right now. That's for me. You can quote me on that. They can hold that. I don't care. There's no way in hell that Strive Testament was going to be like Old Testament. You're crazy.
Yeah.
There's no way.
And we're all glad. Everyone who didn't play Testament is thrilled.
Yeah, oh my god. Like, there's just no way. That character was too cheap. That character was too cheap in like every game. It's like, no.
I mean, the year that what was it, Flash Metroid, and Alex G and their teammate made second place at the Evo team tournament. It was a 3-man team. The team that won first place only had 2 players on it, and one of them was the best Japanese Testament player.
It was probably Cronin or something like that. Yeah, Accent Core Testament was a horrible mistake, but I like the new direction of Testament because obviously completely different character, but still has a lot of really cool things that I think has a lot of potential for grime.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the stain state, I was like, oh yeah, there's going to be some grime in here. Yeah.
I want to try them. I think they look great. I love it. And the aesthetic is wonderful too. Like, come on.
Yeah, they look sick for sure. So you talked about Combo Breaker. I'm curious. Are you going to be? Are you grinding? Are you trying to take this event? Are you trying to take future events as well? Like, how seriously are you playing these days?
It's I've been pretty chill on competition for quite a while now. COVID just knocked all of us on our asses basically, and for myself included. But I've still been playing. I'm still grinding BlazBlue a lot. I'm gonna be playing a lot more Strive again real soon. So I think I'm gonna go pretty hard on it. Still gonna play. I don't know if I'm gonna enter anything tournaments online personally, but I'm gonna grind long sets, which I feel like are very invaluable. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go hard for Combo Breaker. I'll probably go to Evo too. I'll do that. It'll be fun to come back. It'll be weird because
gotta hop kick people. It
is gonna be weird. It was kind of weird at Frosty's.
Yeah, it's true.
I wish I was at Frosty's, man.
It was kind of weird, man.
It was great, but a little weird. Yeah.
You're still roommates with Fu? You two still room with each other?
Oh yeah, I love him, man. He's downstairs playing with 15.
Yeah, right, I was about to say you have a great practice partner, living with you, right? So.
Oh, he's one of the reasons why I got, good or at least decent in Guilty Gear. Just playing him, just getting pissed off when I lose and beating him, and getting pissed off and beating me, and the cycle continues. Same with he's great. I would not be here without him.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I asked this question to everybody before they go. I mean, I'm really curious about this story. You're obviously a hideous-looking human being here. Where did Beautifuldude come from as the nickname?
As a jock, where did the name come from?
Yeah. It's the name is pretty. It's not as stupid and douchey as it sounds. Even though I kind of went into it and made it become that. But basically how it happened, very simple. I went through 5 soldier surgeries, 3 on my left, 2 on my right. knocked me for about 2 years when I was in my older teens, 19 to around 22. Just couldn't do anything, sitting in bed for that long because multi-directional instability was really rough.
Yeah.
And when I finally got out of it, this just sounds corny, but when I got out of it, I used to be the Dude 12, right? That was my old name when I was playing Marvel and stuff. But when I got out of it, I was like a brand new person. So I was like, life's beautiful now. Life's beautiful now. I feel beautiful now because of my shoulders. Now I'm beautiful dude now, no longer the Dude 12. So that's actually how it happened.
That's so heartwarming.
It wasn't me just looking at the mirror and going, I'm beautiful.
Dude,
It later became that way. It later became that, but that's
a great story, actually.
Great
that's
story.
a really wholesome way for that name to have come about. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. It was a rough time, but I felt like the name change was appropriate at the time because now I'm not in chronic shoulder pain anymore. That's just sucks.
Can I ask what happened with the shoulders?
It was just a genetic thing, multi-directional instability. It's a genetic thing from my father. So I got it from him, and they had to suture the shoulders together, so because they were too loose and they were keep clicking and hitting each other, and I still get pain. I'm not gonna lie. Like right now, I feel discomfort, but it was a big difference from before, where it was constant chronic pain. Could barely sleep for a while. It was really your life. So after that, it just we finally got surgeries done, and now
life
I'm
is beautiful, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad
You're waiting for that horseshoe.
Well, no, someone said it in the chat too. Flotas said it in the chat. So, I'm not gonna take credit for that. So that's cool.
Yeah,
Hey,
Dax
plug
in Mortal Kombat, pretty much that. That's accurate.
Yo, give me the plugs.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Plug yourself.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. You can follow me on Beautifuldude GG, or I stream a lot of BlazBlue. That's been doing pretty well. So please follow me at twitch.tv/TheBeautifulDude if you want to see BlazBlue and Guilty Gear Strive. It's been great resurgence ever since that. It's been wonderful. It's great. So come on through, guys. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Awesome, dude. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Omi.
Hey man, and thank you for letting me come on by. I really appreciate it, guys. A lot of fun.
We'll bring you back sometime.
Oh, please do. I'd love to.
And thanks for shaving when we said that you couldn't come on here unless you had shaved your butthole.
I take one for the team, guys. All right, I'm a puppet player. I'll take, just like Eddie takes the hit for me. I take the hit for you guys. You know what I'm saying? I gotta do it.
Yeah, and thanks for sending us proof.
Right.
No problem.
Later, dude.
Later, Omi.
We will be releasing those pics into the internet pretty soon. So just keep an eye on twitter.com/UltraChenTV. There you go.
Oh boy.
Spicy.
All right. Thanks a lot to Beautiful Dude for coming on. That was great. Yeah. Let's move on to our 5-5 matchup segment where we take questions from the viewers, where the people in the chat get to vote on which one we talk about. And since we have kind of had a long show already, we're only going to be doing one question. So when we read these out, think about which one of these you want to vote for. All right.
And if you're a sub, you get 2 votes.
There you go.
That is right.
Number 1.
That is correct.
Given that the Japanese Dev Roundtable discussed it, what do you think is the right way to make a free-to-play fighting game? The Killer Instinct model? Or maybe Project L will show the way? Number 2. With the fighting game scene mostly dominated by long-running games, what should a new IP do to be successful in this market, if it's even possible? And then number 3, Daigo recently mentioned during his stream that fighting games are an outdated genre. What are your thoughts on this statement?
All right, so the poll is ready to go. Just type in !1, !2, or !3 to vote. And as I'm sitting here watching this, it definitely seems like, interesting.
I think this is going to be a close one. In my opinion, these are all good and interesting
Actually,
questions.
no. One question is starting to pull away with over half the votes.
Again, just one. That's all we're going to be addressing. So make sure it's
And again, don't forget that you can vote for questions. You can try to re-ask questions even if they don't get answered. So if you like one of the questions that doesn't win, submit it again in the next week. And, then maybe the other questions won't be as good and we can vote for that one. So, but I think it's pretty clear now with 60% of the votes. 60% of the votes, I'm going to go ahead and call it. It is number 3, Daigo. Daigo's question over here. Whoops, that's not the right thing. I'm looking for this here. Daigo recently mentioned on his stream that fighting games are an outdated genre. What are your thoughts on this statement? Let me get
So this question was sent in by Gulps on Twitter, and they actually sent in also the YouTube video from FG Translated that actually showed translated it that you could understand it in English. And I was hoping for there to be more context, but actually he's just basically talking about how he believes that Capcom is in a good space right now, and he's looking forward to Street Fighter 6 and a couple of other things, but he didn't actually go into detail on that. That was kind of a single line that he said towards the end. And then here it is. I'll read it to you. He is saying, to be honest, Capcom should just be making those games, talking about other games like Monster Hunter and Devil May Cry and stuff. And then he says, they have no obligation to make new games in this outdated genre called fighting games. That's it. So there's not a lot of other extra info there. And then after that, he was like, look, I'm happy that they're making new fighting games. I love fighting games. I want there to be new ones. But, that's his view. So I guess as a result, you can kind of take this however you want, in whichever direction you would like to take it. What do you think?
I think what Daigo's getting at is fighting games have a limited amount of growth and what you can do with them as a developer. It's very difficult to you can't put an Elden Ring amount of content into a fighting game. It's limited in what it can do, right? So I mean, I think that's to what he's getting at. Monster Hunter is amazing. Elden Ring is amazing. Devil May Cry even was incredible for Capcom. Not that Elden Ring is a Capcom game, just to be clear.
I get it.
I'm not stupid, everyone. But yeah, these games have a higher capacity for content that you can shove into them that will make casual players want to play them for 500, 600 hours. Fighting games don't really have that ability. Even if you could put in a amazing story mode, at what point does it not become a fighting game anymore? If you're running through an open world as Jin Kazama, just because Jin is in it doesn't mean it's a fighting game anymore. So I think I understand what he means. I think that's what he's getting at.
And do you agree in that case that fighting games are outdated?
I don't think they're outdated in that they can't improve, but yeah, I think there's a limited capacity on what you can do with them. I think NRS does probably the best at spreading out content as best you can, but what more can you do? I mean, the gameplay itself can evolve and become a better version of a fighting game. But in order to have more, it needs to expand beyond this genre. Is basically the way it would be. And I don't want more. I want more fighting games. I like fighting games.
Yeah.
I think there's millions of other people that like fighting games, so it's fine to make them. But you're never going to see a quadruple A product be a fighting game because you can't.
Yeah, even in the case of the NRS games like MK11, there's a tremendous amount of single player content and even co-op content in the towers. There's a lot of stuff to do for somebody who's not interested in playing competitively. At the end of the day, all of those are still you playing the fighting game, even with the extra rules that they can put into there in the towers, the extra gimmicks and fun stuff that are in there. Yeah, I mean it's a fighting game match, just against this absurd overpowered CPU that you and your friend are taking down, whatever. But fundamentally, it's very similar. I understand. So I think that's true. I'm not sure that that's more true about fighting games than it is about other well-defined, long-lasting genres. I'm not sure that that's more true about a fighting game than it is about many of the other long-term established kinds, I don't know, an MMO, a 4X game. There are things that are sort of definitional about them, and to stray too much means that it's no longer the genre.
Sure.
So,
yeah, I agree.
I think that's just a kind of inherent limitation of almost any category. I don't personally feel that fighting games are any more outdated than other long-lasting genres. They are not as recent for sure as more recent ones like the Battle Royale game or like MOBAs, other things that have come about in just the last, dozen-ish years, more or less. But there are still, I think there are still lots of different ways to go in a fighting game. I mean, I think right now you can see, I would say that right now is the most varied fighting games have ever been. Like this current time
for sure.
is the most varied.
Absolutely.
And that I think is a sign that as fighting games age, they're not like ossifying. That is to say, like they're not getting stuck in a rut. They're expanding and experimenting and trying new things. And maybe at some point there's a limit to that, but we're not there. So I don't personally feel like they're outdated in that sense. I feel like there's a lot of fun stuff and interesting stuff still left on the table. And I mean, I don't expect them in most cases to be the moneymaker that something like Resident Evil or Monster Hunter or whatever is.
Right.
That's not categorically true. Like MK11 sold whatever absurd
like
number of copies.
18 million copies. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
and Smash Ultimate sold absurd
38
numbers of
million.
copies.
Yeah.
Right. So like there's some significant counter examples to that. But in general, yeah, I think that's right. It's just that I don't feel that they're more outdated than other genres, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my answer is yeah, I do think fighting games are outdated. But I agree with David. This is not unique to fighting games. I don't think this is a problem. I think this is a problem with a lot of genres, and it generally happens to genres. In the end, like I've been thinking a lot about this, right? In ways to make it so that fighting games can appeal to people. It's why Tubo keeps bringing it up, but the beginner mechanics thing. The reason why I'm so frustrated with them is because I think that there's different ways to do it, and I think fighting games are kind of stuck in a rut right now where they just keep doing the things that we've always done. And while we're getting good variety in terms of how the games are being played, we have to kind of think of them from a different scope. Like I was even just kind of spitballing this on my stream one time. I was like, when you think about when you watch a fighting game in a tournament, and a lot of the time the games are about putting someone in the corner, getting them trapped, right? Now, Strive obviously threw a loop for that. But in general, what that means is you're sitting there staring at literally 1/4 of the screen, and it's not even in the center of the screen. You're looking at the side. And so, when you're sitting here playing a fighting game and you're presenting it in esports, you're watching this corner of the screen, and the rest of the stage is there doing absolutely nothing. And so I was like, why don't we design stages that have actual walls? And when you push them in the corner, you scroll the corner to the center of the screen and have the action focused in the middle. And yes, it feels claustrophobic, but it should. You should feel bad for getting put into the corner. So if you scroll the screen and make it claustrophobic for the other guy, and while they're getting hit, the bricks crumble and stuff in the background, they don't actually do anything, but it's a visual sign like this place sucks. Like, why not start thinking outside the box and trying to do these kind of things in fighting games? And then, I've always been a big voice about this, but I think online ranked sucks. I know the Guilty Gear lobby suck, but I really love that they were trying to do something different. They failed, but that doesn't mean that there's not a right way to do it. In my opinion. And yeah, East ML, Guilty Gear wall break is very similar to kind of, that's why I love the wall break system so much in Guilty Gear. In terms of fighting game fundamentals, it sucks because you're losing the position, and that's antithetical to some fighting games. But, a lot of ways that there is ways to make it. I'm glad Guilty Gear's trying something different. I'm glad they went with the wall break mechanic because it is brand new, it is different, and it's one of the reasons why I love Strive. I love the counter hit message. I love the combo meter of death, in the game and such. These are the kind of things I'm thinking of, and this is why I do think fighting games are a little outdated. Ranked needs to be more enjoyable. It needs to be more fun. The fight itself needs to think about it more from a presentation standpoint, because it didn't matter in the old days. We were just playing in arcades, but now we're playing fighting games on a big screen, on a stream for audiences. We have to start rethinking things. And again, like David said, you could substitute the term fighting game with practically anything at this point. I feel like, we could say FPS, we could say RTS, and I'm sure a lot of people in those communities will feel kind of similarly. I just feel like we are at a point where we need to start looking at doing things a little bit more differently in the genre. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I would like to see more experiments like that. I'm glad games like Phantom Breaker Omnia are coming out with, very different mechanics. As much as you want to make fun of a game like Fantasy Strike for not being able to crouch and stuff,
To kind of build on what you're saying, James, as far as the evolution of fighting games, would you consider, I know you haven't really played it much, but would you consider Rumbleverse a fighting game then?
I was thinking about
because
the same
that feels
example.
like it would be the next evolution of fighting games to me.
Yeah, I mean, it would obviously be a very different kind of genre of fighting games, but absolutely, yeah, because that's why I think it's stupid when people say Smash isn't a fighting game. It's 100% a fighting game, and in fact, I can go on for about 10 hours talking about why Smash is the smartest fighting game ever designed ever. It is just genius how they made that game, and why, besides the fact that it has Mario and Zelda and Samus in it, why it is so addicting to play. But absolutely, Rumbleverse could spawn a completely third genre. You got the traditional fighting games. Well, actually, fourth, traditional 3D platform fighters. And yeah, let's do a absolutely
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale. Thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of the name. Let's do a Battle Royale version of the fighting game. And from what I've seen of what Rumbleverse is doing, they are doing a lot of those things right. The stuff that I've been talking about, how you just need to make games make you feel good. That's how you get people addicted to games. Absolutely. So I welcome Rumbleverse, being a major staple in fighting games. It'll be a different genre. It'll attract different audiences for sure. But, I think it's something that if you do like fighting games, absolutely take a look at it, because obviously a lot of the same strategies applied: spacing, distancing, reading your opponent, etc., but just presented in a way that, you body slam someone from the top of a building and you just fucking feel like a god.
Shardlab asked if arena fighters like Xenoverse and Naruto Ultimate Ninja are fighting games. I say yeah, but that doesn't mean I have to respect them.
Yeah, they of course are fighting games.
I don't respect those games at all.
I have never played any of them seriously, and I don't have a great position on them, except that everybody else says that they're bad, which is why I don't play them.
Yeah.
So that's my
again,
they're shit, dude.
But I will
think
say that Pokken has an arena aspect to it, and that game is sick. So I don't think there's anything about
Pokken Arena is better than every arena fighter ever.
Well,
I mean, I just think it's a really
just
good
in
game
that
overall.
phase, just that one.
I was just gonna say, Gundam games, Virtual On, are probably better arena fighters than a lot of those arena games, right?
Absolutely.
So I've said, since its release a long time ago, I've said Virtual On is a fighting game, because all of my fighting game friends played the hell of that game, and it was the same concept, same execution requirements, same strategy, same techniques, spacing, understanding movement, etc. So I absolutely consider those fighting games. Just again, the difference. So maybe Rumbleverse would be a fifth genre.
What about For Honor, huh? For Honor, maybe like a fighting game / MOBA kind of situation. What about that?
I've never played it.
Third-person fighting game.
I never played it, so I couldn't tell you. But judging from what
it.
everybody said, yeah, sure, why not? Why not?
It had some fighting game. It has some fighting game aspects in it for sure. So look, I think that there is a lot of experimentation going on. I agree with you guys that I would love to see more, and I think that we will continue to see more. But I think that ultimately, it's a genre, and if you go outside of the bounds of it too much, then you're not in the genre anymore. Maybe we should redefine it. I don't know, but that's just in my opinion, that may be what this is more about. All right, cool. Anything else on this one?
No, thought that was cool. All right, good question. Good question. Actually,
Those are all good questions.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe heck, next week we'll take one of them and just turn it into our Ultra Chen 5.5. Why not? So.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So.
Okay.
Mailbag. I don't even know what that song is that I'm singing, but it's a song that my brother and I.
I don't know, but I guarantee you the DMCA lawyers will.
That's probably true.
That's a good way to find out.
Oh boy.
Man, okay, where is it?
Excuse me, Mr. MPAA. Can I ask you? Can I ask you something, Mr. RIAA?
All right. So the first mailbag question that we have here. Let's do this. All right. The first mailbag question we have today comes from Sushi Saihara via Twitter. Says a gamer genie appears and gives you the power to give a new entry to an abandoned fighting game franchise, no matter how obscure. What's your wish to bring back, and how do you prevent the genie from ruining the game with weird gimmicks?
It's Fighter's Destiny. That's what's got to come back, everybody.
You probably skipped that part too, but they brought up Fighter's Destiny. Oh no, Fighter's History I'm thinking of. What was Fighter's Destiny again? Shoot. But they brought up
point.
Yeah, Fighter's Destiny is the 3D game that had points.
Oh, that's what it was. No, they were talking about Fighter's History, and I think Matsumoto admitted not knowing what that was, and he was super embarrassed about it. He actually felt shame that he did not know what it was.
Can't know everything, man.
Look, I would love to see Fighter's Destiny come back. Not as it was. So, I mean, look, if it comes back as it was, then it will be how did the question phrase this?
How do you prevent the game from being ruined with weird gimmicks?
Right. Okay. Well, unfortunately, the game already was ruined with weird gimmicks. So if it comes back as it was, then it's not going to be any worse, and a genie's not going to make it worse. Those were very imbalanced games, but the idea of the point system, winning not necessarily because you KO, although that was one way to win in that game, but by getting, I believe, 7 points with these different ways of doing it. 1 point for a ring out, 4 points for whatever it was called, 3 points for something else, 2 points for a throw or something. I just like that idea. It's just an interesting idea. Cool. It is a cool idea. So if that were to come back, that's what I would want. And again, if it comes back and it's a pile of garbage, well, guess what? It already was. So no loss. But I do really like that idea, and I would love to see it explored more.
Okay. I mean,
super moves for 4 points. Yeah, but what was it called? Something in Japanese, I don't recall. Anyway.
Don't know.
Okay, well, that's my pick.
Yeah, I mean, people know what my pick is already, right? I've already said it a million times. I want to bring back rival schools. And how do you prevent the game from ruining the game with weird gimmicks would be to not let me make it. No, honestly, because I feel like I would make a sick ass rival schools game. I've thought about it way too much on how to make this a sick ass game. It would be kind of gimmicky, but that's my nature in general. But honestly, if you wanted the game to be good, yeah, let me make my rival schools game, because honestly, I think it would be super good. I just the way that I've worked it out in my brain. I think the game would be amazing.
Well, I feel like it's way too obvious for me to say Marvel.
It sure is. You better not.
So
with rollback netcode.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and there's no risk of the genie ruining the game with weird gimmicks, because guess what? It already was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Eternal Champions.
Oh shit.
Go with Eternal Champions.
Wow, really digging in deep into the bottom of that barrel.
Yeah. And I want the genie to make it have a bunch of weird gimmicks, because the original Eternal Champions was a flaming pile of crap.
Sure was.
So I want to see another flaming pile of crap. That's just a modern one, a modern flaming pile of crap. You know, that's what I'm into.
I like how our answer to this, all three of us, was, yeah, we want to take this garbage game, and if it's still garbage, that's cool.
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
Oh,
Can't be
man.
disappointed that way.
Oh man! Actually, Tuhalu, we probably should mention this, from the PlayStation show because there is a relevancy to it. One of the games announced there, I don't know, maybe you guys talked about it last week already, was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles collaboration.
I am so excited for that thing, and like not for Tournament Fighter, just because all those games are so good.
Yeah.
Also, have you seen the box art? The box art is incredible.
It is.
It's so good.
Dude, I'm gonna go look that up right now. Dude.
It's so good. It has like different for those of you listening, the box art of the TMNT pack that's coming out relatively soon. It has different box art combined from the games that are included in the pack, and it's like displayed in like a ripped up fashion where it's like old stickers laid on top of each other. Basically, it's really cool looking.
Dude,
You know how to Google it.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm just gonna put it on the stream right now, dude. I could just do that, right? So that's like
I mean, you can.
Look at this. That's actually
that cover art is sick.
That's so
good.
Good.
Different art styles from like each different game. Like the top right is Turtle Heist.
Yeah.
The bottom left is TMNT in Time.
Yeah.
Top left is, or not the very top left, but the second top left is the arcade game. Like it's just really, really dope. Really cool that they did that.
That is really sick.
Yeah.
Good job to them.
Yeah, they're going all out on. I know we talked about logos the other day, but
yeah,
man, that box art is.
And I mean, they said that the fighting games are going to have netcode. They haven't announced rollback yet, but
no, they haven't announced rollback, but it'll be playable online at least.
Yeah. Can you imagine if it got rollback?
I really hope it does.
It would be cool.
Yeah.
I'll beat up David's Chrome Dome.
Kids still watch.
Ninja Turtles is still a very successful IP.
Yeah,
it's still a very successful IP.
I mean,
they're making 2 new movies right now. Yeah, it's doing good.
I've never been like the biggest TMNT fan, but at the same time,
I am.
I love How do you not love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Like, I don't know, just the entire way they did the concept. I just feel like it's completely like unhateable. Like you just have to like it,
Well, I mean, I'm a big Daredevil fan, and much of the Ninja Turtles is directly ripping off Daredevil. So.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Foot Clan, the hand.
Right.
Yeah, when
Splinter is Stick. I don't know if you know about Stick, but Splinter is basically their Stick. Stick is the guy that like trained up Daredevil.
Yeah, and honestly, the ooze that turned Matt Murdock blind is the one that's supposed to have gone into the sewer and created the turtles.
Created them.
Yeah, that accident created the turtles, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah,
that's cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's so neat. It's so cool.
Yeah, Turtles is dope.
All right, let's go on to the old next question here.
That's not true, Paul Brown. You didn't see the Michael Bay versions, right? So Jesus Christ. Man. Anyways, second question. Second
question.
I was like, aren't we done? Aren't we done? Second question is from Subatar. Subatar asks, the UltraChen TV hosts are going on a road trip across the continent. But due to unholy forces that cannot be defied, your roles must be decided at the beginning and cannot be changed. Who's driving, who's bringing the snacks, who creates the playlist, and who's paying for gas.
All right. I'm creating the playlist.
Yeah, I was about to say David is not allowed to create the playlist.
Correct.
I'm creating the playlist. David is paying for gas.
What?
You're a lawyer, buddy. I got the snacks.
I'll drive.
Yeah, don't say James can drive.
Yeah, I'm totally down to do that. So
that's you're paying for the gas, buddy. $6 a gallon.
$6.
I mean, look, if you create the playlist and I'm driving, I guess we could. No, David can't. Well, no, actually, if the snacks are all created by Kentley, David can bring all the snacks.
That's true.
That's true. That's
I'd allow
true.
it. But you're still paying for gas, buddy. Sorry. That's the brakes, kid.
She makes like everything is good, and some of the stuff that you wouldn't even expect. Like she's made like trail mix, and it was the best trail mix I ever had. Like all sorts of stuff. You can make all
Hey,
sorts of
buddy,
All right.
I've made my own carrot cake now. I don't need Ketley to make. Dude, actually, no, I still need to try one of her carrot cakes, dude. I mean, I ate almost 90% of my own carrot cake myself. I think I could handle
sitting.
one of Ketley's carrot cakes. It would definitely, obviously, the quality would drop as the days rolled by, but you can't prevent that. But I might still be down to buy a cake from her at one point and let's
Depending
just
on
do
the
it.
cake, you can put it back in the oven and rejuvenate the
Can you do that?
sponge. Yeah, depending on the type of cake. I don't know if carrot cake is
Really?
part of that.
I don't know which ones work like that, but I have seen that done. But I will also say that some of the cakes she makes, we just like hang on to for like a week until we finish it, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Like the cakes, I asked about that. Did you know this? I didn't know this before I met her. You can just leave butter out. Do you guys do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, you gotta have
but it
soft butter.
melts, right?
No, it stays solid. I have butter on my counter right now.
Apparently, it's very common. But when I grew up in my family's house, like butter was put right back into the fridge
Yeah.
every time. And
I keep soft butter and fridge butter. Like I have both all the time. 'Cause
Right, yeah.
different purposes.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's what she does. And I had no idea. So what she said as well is that things that have like a lot of fatty stuff in them, like a lot of butter, basically, like cake, you can kind of leave out. And at some point they get gross, of course. But like I used to think that you had to put them back in the fridge immediately, or else they're dead in the day.
Nah.
Yeah,
Not the case.
that's what I
Not the
thought
case.
too.
No,
Yeah.
that's not how that works.
Not the case.
I also need to learn how to cut the cakes in that certain way that you can preserve it so that the sides don't get hard, right? Like the frosting part covers. It's like you're supposed to cut the slices out of the middle, like horizontal, then you can like push the cake closer together, and so none of the spongy parts are exposed and stuff. I gotta look at
Right.
that. So that way, if I do buy Kentley's cake, I then can preserve it as long as possible to make sure it is maximum
That
deliciousness.
cake's gonna last 2 days,
100%.
dude.
Yeah,
What's that?
yeah.
That cake will last 2 days.
Yeah, probably. I will
That
probably.
boy
end
is
up-
gone. 2
yeah,
days.
I will finish that thing probably pretty fast. So
We definitely have cake containers that are like made for cakes. We also have, like I said, we put butter out, but it never lasts that long. So like we're constantly refreshing the like out
You know, yeah,
butter.
you don't want to leave it out for weeks. It can go bad.
Yeah,
and
at some
mold.
point there's a limit, of course.
But like, if you use it within like a week or two, it's fine.
you
Absolutely.
mean when it starts turning
like
green, it goes
doing stuff
bad?
with
No.
it.
Yeah, that's how it works.
So like the butter that's currently in the freezer, we have this rotation, right? Like we have a bunch of butter in the freezer, and then we take
Move it
one
to the
out
fridge.
whenever it moves to the fridge, and then it moves to the outside of the fridge. Like there's the natural life cycle
Yeah,
of
it's
the
the
butter,
circle
and
of
I
life
had no
of
idea.
butter. All right.
Anyway, there you go. Congratulations.
Didn't realize
no-
butter was so durable.
Green means go. Absolutely right.
Yeah,
Chow
go
down.
in the trash is what it means, to be honest.
Wait until you find out that mayo is raw eggs, James.
Oh, I know mayo is raw eggs.
All right.
I'm very aware of that. Yes.
Yeah, some things are weird sounding, like sour cream sounds weird once you know what it's about, and
Yeah.
even cheese.
so
cheese
good.
is kind of funky.
Also
I mean, that's
so
what
good. Yeah,
Thousand
offshoot,
Island is
very
just
good.
ketchup and mayo, right? That's just all it really is, if I'm not mistaken.
That
Yeah.
one, I guess. All right. Anyway, I don't know actually that much about cooking and baking, but I live with somebody who has somehow managed to like osmose some of the knowledge into me. at some
You
point.
cook now, dude. You make stuff now.
I do
right?
make
So,
stuff.
Yeah.
I do make stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have baked a couple of times. I've done a couple of things here and there. I made muffins. They turned out
David's-
pretty okay.
David's muffins.
All right. Look.
Butthole hair-free muffins.
Thank you so much. I was just about to turn it into the butthole conversation myself. I'm glad that you got there first. Again, use the coupon code UCTV for 20% off of all orders at Manscaped. By the way, it's not just about shaving your butt. You can do a lot of other stuff. And,
They got a lot of different stuff, and
they actually
honestly,
do have other products there.
I use the nose hair trimmer too.
I did too, man. Yeah, and for me, it actually worked really well. And let me tell you, I got some honkers. but it managed to.
I mean,
Okay.
honestly, like if this is something that you're interested, please do consider that, because the more people that use the coupon codes, the more that they'll be like, cool, these guys are definitely, those two hairy guys and that one guy who has no hair at all are selling the products out there, and it will definitely help us out, and then we might even be able to, get other sponsors and stuff as we continue forward. So it'd be
There you
really,
go.
really cool. Yeah.
That's right. All right. Thanks a lot for hanging out, everybody. That's the show. Next week, we will be talking, I guess, about the Street Fighter patch, which will drop on the
That's
29th.
right.
Yeah.
God, that's right. That's right. All right.
Let's
That is
do
true.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna go play Elden Ring and eat ramen.
Ooh, that sounds good. Well, what kind of ramen?
I'm about to make it. Well, I'm not. It's just like whatever Maruchan or whatever. But I'm gonna put a bunch of crap in there, and it's gonna be great.
Fair enough. All right. Take care, guys.
Nice
Peace.
cheese. Craft cheese. Delicious.